Hey everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook Live every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I am your host, Dan Z. Thrilled to be here with you talking some Star Wars, and we have got quite a show for you tonight. Here's something interesting that's happening as we speak. I can't see any of your comments, so hopefully that shows up. Here's one. Here we go. Woo! I couldn't see your comments. That would make the interactive part really tricky. Mary is here. Hello. Happy Mando Monday to you, Mary. Good to see you. Minta, this is the way. CWK Day, good to have you here. David, hello, my friend. Awesome to have you on the show. And Jim as well. All of our people are here. Ross, good evening to you, my friend. Awesome. And Mason is here on my account. How about that? Blake says, hey, hey. Good evening to you, Greg. Tyler, good to see you. Ian is here. Hey, Ian. Adam, hello. Adam was on Coffee with Kenobi this week. You're going to hear him tomorrow morning, along with Corey Club, talking about The Siege, which is what our top 5 is all about tonight. Again, I am your host, Dan Z. Pumped to be here with you. We've done a few changes to the Coffee with Kenobi studio. Now, I didn't anticipate how the lighting would change, but of course, I do have Christmas lights behind me. And, we try to decorate it so that it's kind of like a little fireplace thing right here. You probably saw the pictures on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter, which, by the way, if you are watching the show and you're a fan of Coffee with Kenobi, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Like the page, follow the accounts, all that stuff, because it does help us grow and reach more people. And then we can have more people interacting with us on Facebook Live, which is so good. Terry says, so tired tonight, so I'm just watching. No top 5 for me. But if I had one, Gene's guy would be high up on the list. May the force be with you, Terry. Hey, glad to have you tune in. Have some fun. Relax. It's going to be fun. Yes, it is looking very merry here. It's really, really cool. I'm sorry that it's kind of blurred out a little bit, but I've got a couple Lucasfilm holiday cards. I did add some of the Retro Empire Strikes Back stuff. When my son comes here this weekend for Thanksgiving break, we're going to try to take care of the lighting issues in here. Ian says, looks great, but where's the life-size baby? The life-size baby is there. He's way over there. You can't see him right now. But I've got a Mandalorian display where I've got the baby and I've got the Lego and I've got a couple of figures and a lot of it. So I did a lot of changes. I need to make a new updated video of the intro because what the office looks like at that intro is much different than what it looks like now. But all good stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
Let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week, indeed. We've got Mando Monday. I've got a lot of stuff to cover here on Mando Monday, so we're going to jump right into that. And by the way, don't forget at the end of the show, we're going to have some more Star Wars trivia backed by popular demand. All right, Mando Monday. I think the biggest thing, Ryan, good to have you here, buddy. I think the biggest thing, of course, we've always got some fun stuff from Hasbro, which I will share here in a few moments. But Columbia, every year they do a really cool Star Wars coat/jacket thing that are limited. Now they're, of course, doing the Mandalorian. If you look on the right, you can see the interior. This is a combo vest / like a jacket. It's supposed to be extremely warm. I'm hoping to be able to show you more of that in the next couple of days. But there's the interior with a really cool interior pouch. On the right is that is not a part of the jacket. That is a separate item, which is really, really slick. I'll pull up the press release while you're looking at this. But there's some fun stuff here. When you see this stuff, what typically goes through your mind? Are these the kind of things you're interested in pursuing? They had... Not too long ago, they had a great jackets for the dark or the light side for the Rise of Skywalker last year. And then they had a lot of great stuff where they had that replica of the Empire Strikes Back crew jacket from a couple of years ago. And that was great fun as well. Okay, here we go. Here's the press release. Let me read this for you. So on the right is the Mandalorian helmet Gator. And that is $40. It says it's water-resistant fabric, fleece lining, and stretchy soft shell construction. It also has a coded message written on the fleece lining. It's got a Mudhorn signet on the back label as well. The jacket on the left, which I'll go back to the original slide of that, is it's a jacket. It has a durable canvas and soft shell construction with lightweight insulation and a powerful Omni-Heat 3D thermal reflective lining. The combo can be worn separately or together for maximum warmth and protection. So that's pretty cool. All right, so there's that jacket, pretty sharp, nice. I like the gray. Now this is the sweatshirt. This is a Mandalorian heavyweight hoodie. It's a rugged and warm special edition hoodie that reflects key design elements from the Mandalorian's armor. The hoodie features a tonal Mando message that will be recognizable for the growing legions of Mandalorian fans. And there's a little bit of that on either side. Yeah, Minta, I agree. They're really sharp. Jim says he's going to jump on those Columbia jackets. They look fantastic. They go on sale on December 4th. It says 12:01 a.m. Eastern time. So it's going to be one of those things. Yeah, those Empire coats were sweet. I was lucky to get one of those. They were really fun. All right, not to be outdone, of course, when we're talking about the Mandalorian, you're also going to talk about the child. So here is the offering of the child, and it's for children. So you can see it has a nice brown coat. Yes, they will definitely come in handy in the Chicagoland area, Ian. I agree with that. This is a child jacket. It's $75 to $80. It's a special edition youth jacket. It's got the Omni-Heat thermal reflective lining, and if you ever worn anything by Columbia, they are really, really nice. And then it's got a hood with the stowable ears, which is interesting. So you don't have to have the ears out there if you don't want to. Greg likes it. Greg, I think you should get one, buddy. I think it'll look great on you. Just saying. Just saying. All right, speaking of cute, this is a child bunting. It's adorable. Interior's got some fun little designs on it, but it's super, super cute. Those retail for $50. All right, now this is the big one from the Hasbro. First time Hasbro hasn't had a Black Series one, but we've covered a lot of stuff. So this is Greef Karga. This is the Greef Karga look from Season 2. You'll notice, in Season 1, he's just got a mustache, and it's just his nice brown mustache. But here, it looks like the Greef Karga that we just saw on the Siege, which is what we're going to talk about. And look at it. I mean, look at the likeness of Carl Weathers. It's extraordinary. And he's got the gray goatee now instead of just a black mustache. I ordered one of these today. I was very excited about it. Very excited about it. Tyler says his 2-year-old needs one of those. Yeah, your 2-year-old niece does need one of those, Tyler. I think that would be a nice thing an uncle would do. Blake says the figures look amazing. This one really does look amazing. Speaking of amazing, look at the child. Now, I know we were going to get one of these in the Razor Crest if you order the Razor Crest, but I'm assuming this is going to be a little bit different, come with different stuff. I love the card here. I love this picture as well as the child chasing after the frog. Super fun. Adam also digging it. Great looking figure. Really is. It really is. Here's a few close-ups. Thanks again to Hasbro for sending those over to us. And I believe if you order those today, they come out next summer. I think that sounds right. Yeah. So it comes with the little clam shell as well. Lego's got something coming out. It's called Trouble on Tatooine. It comes with the child, the Mandalorian, and a Tusken Raider. But there is what that looks like. That's pretty fun as well. Lego's coming out with a lot of great stuff. Looking forward to working with Lego in the very near future. All right, so this site I downloaded originally as a video, so this showed the gift properly. But basically on Google, they've got an option now where you can have some fun with some VR. You can put the Mandalorian if you're in your living room, if you're interested in that kind of a thing. So that is an option as well. Again, whenever there's stuff for Mando Monday, it always shows up on Coffee with Kenobi all over our social media and our webpage. Lisa and I and Disney work together every Monday to get this stuff out to you, so be sure to check it out. Terry says, you just say we're going to get one with a Razor Crest, as in you ordered one. Terry, I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but I ordered it like probably an hour before it was done. And then I finally decided, I just can't do this. So I canceled it because I just don't want to charge anything. So I didn't. If I get the cash and I can somehow swing something later, maybe. But I know I actually did cancel my order. I'm just going to have to live vicariously through all of you, which I will be happy to do. You guys are great. Tyler says he loves the updated Beskar Lego minifig. Yeah, I like that too. I didn't catch that initially. All right, check this out. This is from Igloo today. We've got 2 new coolers. Igloo has such great Star Wars stuff. They have a lot of great offerings of different individual cups and coolers and some mini coolers as well. But we've got a Mandalorian one, and we've got the cartoony one of the child that is so popular and prevalent. And then, of course, the Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide. What a great looking cover. That's coming out next year. Had to put that out because my buddy Pablo is the sole author on this one. It's going to be chock full of stuff. I know they worked very, very hard on it. It's going to be a blast to check out. Okay. So that's it. That's what's brewing in the world of Star Wars as far as, the different collectibles and things like that. So let's go ahead and jump into our top 5. I'm looking forward to seeing your list. Today's top 5 is top 5 moments from The Siege, which was an extraordinary episode. Ian says, can't wait for that. Just wish we didn't have to wait until next July. Yeah, I thought it was summer, but July seems so late. Oof. Crazy. Well, I mean, was everybody able to order one or order a couple of these that actually wanted to? Hopefully you were able to do that. All right, let's do our top 5s here, everybody. Let's do our top 5 moments from The Siege. It's an extraordinary episode. My second favorite of season 2. You're going to hear a lot more about that tomorrow on Coffee with Kenobi. All right, let's get those number 5s in here. Number 5 for me is Navarro's change. I think this is really fascinating what they did. We go back to Navarro, and what you'll notice right away is it's the first time we've seen Navarro where it's sunny out and populated without the scum and villainy of the galaxy. It's just got people and alien residents that are just doing their thing, and they're not out for trouble or to cause any mischief. They're just there to make a living for themselves. And I thought that was really, really cool. Really, really cool. So this is the only time we've seen Navarro. I'm fixing my camera here so I can see you all a little bit better. It's the first time we see Navarro where it's sunny out the whole time. All in season 1, it's always overcast or dark or murky outside. But here, it's sunny out because there's hope in this galaxy. They have a lot of hope in what's going on. And it's reflected through the atmosphere, which is very like a classic literary motif. Edgar Allan Poe used to be really good at doing that. Ian's number 5, Return of the Mithril. Love the nerf's little toot when he sees Mando. Ha, that's great. We refer to it as a toot at our house as well. Horatio Sands did a great job. He really did. He really did. Mary says, the child with the red and blue wires, then using the Force to get the cookies. Mary, those are really good. Those are going to come up a lot with a lot of people. Again, sorry about the glare. Behind me is actually Lando, but the way I've got the lighting set up, it's unfortunate, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it. Ross is number 5. Captain Teva building a rapport with Cara Dune near the end of the episode. He asks her about Alderaan, reminds her of the New Republic needs help, and leaves behind a badge that exists on her new Funko Pop figure. Oh, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ross. Yeah, that Ross and that badge, Corey and I had debated a lot about what that badge might be, and Adam as well. Adam, Corey, and I have debated what that badge might be, and if it was in fact a communicator as well. That would be pretty cool. All right, let's see what else we got here. Minta says, the child trying to help wire the ship, I couldn't help but laugh. It's a great scene. It really is. Really, really fun. I'm going to talk about that later too, Minta, actually. 5, for Greg Mithril complaining about the guardrails. Yeah, Mason said to me, why didn't the Empire build guardrails? And I said, because the Empire doesn't care about safety. I think that's fair to say. 5, for Jim, the cinematography in general. There were a few shots of the Imperial base in particular that made its height appear really daunting for the characters. Yeah, that was cool. They do such great work with, I mean, this series has got to get a lot more Emmy wins for season 2 because the production value is so incredibly high. Number 5, for Blake. It's also going back to Navarro. Give me Mos Eisley vibes, seeing how it's changed, added to the world building and amazing storytelling. I agree, Blake. Very much so. Greg's got the New Republic badge as well. Number 5 for Mason. I got to pull this up here. Maybe I should just write on a regular piece of paper. But I got it in my notes here. Number 5 for Mason is the return of the Razor Crest. At the end of the episode, that heroic moment where the Razor Crest swoops in, takes out the remaining ties, was really, really exciting. Glenn says maybe they're too cheap for rails. Well, that could be too. That could be too, Glenn, for sure. All right, so Mason's number 5, the Razor Crest returns. Let's go ahead and go into our number 4, top 5 favorite moments from the siege. My number 4 is the Imperial Troop Transport. Just everything about it. Just seeing it in action, seeing how it moves, seeing how fast it is, seeing the cannon work, how hearing them talk about how rare and unique it is, and we talk about this on Coffee with Kenobi. I don't know if Corey or Adam brought this up, but they talked about how it was a direct message to the fans. And Adam, if you're still with us, be sure to weigh in on that. It's like a direct message to the fans about how rare the actual toy was from Kenner. I remember looking all over for that thing when I was a kid, but I never could find it. And it wasn't for lack of trying, but when you're 6, 7 years old, it's a little harder to get to the store as much as you would like to. So someday I'm going to get one of those. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about the Mandalorian version of it. That's the newer one. But either way, it's just a classic vehicle. Of course, we got to see it a lot in Star Wars Rebels, but to see it like used actively besides just a passing shot like in season 1 of The Mandalorian was really terrific for me. All right, number 4 for Ian, the Mando and Son electrical repair. The Mando and Son electrical repair is pretty fantastic. I agree. Brian had that toy. Great sound effects. See, Brian, that's why I wanted it. And by the way, happy birthday yesterday to Brian. But it came with, I was trying to explain to Mason, I saw it in the JCPenney's catalog, but it had sound effects supposedly from the movies and the blasters and things like that. So I really wanted it. Ross is number 4. The introduction of Moff Gideon's Imperial Comm officer. Her real name is Katie O'Brien, and she's an Indianapolis native with an extensive martial arts background who's studying acting at IU. Well, that's cool, Ross. I love that. Will she fight Cara Dune or Costco Reeves / Sasha Banks? I don't know. Or maybe no one. I don't know, but that's cool that she was in there. I thought it was important that we got to see a female commanding officer. I think that was important. Tyler, number 4, Mando skills with a jetpack. I really enjoy seeing him fly around. He does a heck of a superhero landing. Yes, it's like the classic Thor or Iron Man or even Black Widow landing with the fist down. And by this point, I mean, Favreau is obviously behind all this, so that's not an accident. Minta's number 4, seeing the Imperial transport make its live debut. Yeah, exactly. I actually got to see it in action, which is cool. Greg's number 4, seeing Dr. Pershing again. I like how they're returning to more characters from season 1, which are moving the story along and making us get to know these players a little bit better. I like that as well. I really like that as well. Number 4, Mithra's comments about the lack of guardrails. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, that character could be annoying, but he wasn't. He was really entertaining. Really entertaining. Good acting, too. Mary's number 4, the troopers Wilhelm scream, fight through the ship and not being able to hit the broadside of a barn, then chase with all its familiar sound effects. This thing was full of sound effects from the Death Star and A New Hope. A lot of New Hope stuff in this one. Number 4 for Blake, all the Baby Yoda moments from him wiring the ship to the school to him throwing his little hands up in the Razor Crest. Yeah, that's great. So you've got probably a really meaty list, Blake, because each of those could easily be one all in of its own. So that's cool. That is cool. All right, Mason's number 4 is Force cookies is how he described it. I love how Mason is describing these things when we have our conversations together. But it's, of course, the moment in the school where that child is not sharing its cookies or macaroons with the child. So he just uses the Force and takes them and starts chowing down. It was pretty entertaining. All right, that was number 4. Let's go ahead and go to number 3. Things are moving really, really smoothly. Number 3 for me is a red or blue wire. There's something so incredibly charming about the opening sequence because it's sort of a stressful situation, but it's played for comedy. But it's also heartwarming and endearing. It also shows the dynamic between two has grown exponentially. He's treating the child as almost not necessarily an equal, but a partner that can help him repair this incredible Star Cruiser. But he's still a child, right? Even though he's 50, he's still a child, and he clearly understands the Mandalorian, but he's not quite able to articulate on his own to the degree that, he can have a direct conversation like he will be when he gets a little bit older. And then even though, if you mix the red and blue wires, you can't help but think of the second Lethal Weapon movie, at least I did. But I just thought it was great fun and just sort of playful, but also a little bit of seriousness to it. But again, seeing the relationship, the dynamic between the two was super cool. All right, number 3 for Tyler. Moff Gideon, he's made such a huge impact with very little screen time. I can't wait to see his grand scheme. Yeah, I can't either. He makes me nervous. I've yet to see what he's really like in battle. I know how formidable he is. But a one-on-one confrontation, I'm sure we'll see. Number 3 for Ian, Baby Yoda goes to school / space macaroons. Did you see they were selling space macaroons tonight and they sold out instantly? It was on, look at my Twitter feed, I retweeted it. Number 3 for Jim, the sound mixing and design in general, but especially with the speeder bikes. Yeah, man. For 3, For Minta, Cara Dune's home planet being revealed as Alderaan, I was taken by complete surprise and she kept her composure. I was too, but Minta, help me out with this, or anybody. I swear we knew that she was from Alderaan already. Was there some press about that? Was there like a throwaway thing in a book? I really can't remember, but for some reason I remember thinking that she's from Alderaan. I don't know why I thought that. But I don't remember ever being publicly talked about on the show like you just mentioned, Minta, so I appreciate that reminder. But if anybody's aware for sure where we first heard that, and maybe it is here, maybe I don't know, I had too many blue macaroons or something, I'm not sure. Brian says, speeder bikes. Those speeder bikes were pretty epic. Probably the coolest we've ever seen them, honestly, to me. Mary's number 3. The labs on the planet and the ship where we get cloning answers. Difficult to see the future is, but I thought the same thing. All right, Adam, thanks for joining us, buddy. Be sure to enjoy your Coffee with Kenobi debut tomorrow. It's going to air live at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Ross, the possible introduction of the Acolyte of the Beyond cult. The humanoid alien that planted the tracking beacon on the Razor Crest appears to be the same species as Ochi of Bestoon. Yes, I agree. The Sith assassin member of that cult from the Rise of Skywalker. That's right. They're doing such a cool job of pulling a lot of species from the sequel trilogy, so that was cool too. Number 3, Blake. Cara Dune's convo with Blue at the end of the episode that revealed that the stormtroopers are showing up in numbers all over that part of the galaxy adds so much to the mystery of what they're up to. Also adds more danger to the Mando. Yeah, it made me nervous. There's a lot to be concerned with. They continue to raise the stakes, which is great. Number 3 for Greg. The background lecture by the protocol droid. Lots of little Easter eggs. Not sure if Mr. Zero allows eating in class though. I do not, because we use technology. Everybody has Google Chromebooks, so we can't do that. Speaking of in my classroom, hey Carter, good to have you, buddy. He says, seeing that fish guy back, cool how he mentions the carbonite freezing. Also cool how he kind of recognized the Razor Crest. And he was nervous because of that little toot, as Ian mentioned earlier. And Greg says, yes, we were told she was from Alderaan. Greg, do you remember where that was told? Was it in chapter 4? I just don't remember specifically. Maybe it was. Moff Gideon said it last season when he told us Din Djarin's name. That's it. It was in chapter 7, I believe, when he basically, or was it 8? 7 or 8, where Moff Gideon just gives this little lecture on, hey, I know who you are. Hey, I knew who you are. I know where you're from. So yeah, it was in season 1. I just didn't remember. I couldn't remember it specifically. Ross, I love it, man. You're getting closer and closer working for that story group with that information. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. Mason's number 3 is Puke Up. It's the blue spit up that was pretty adorable. Wasn't even gross. It was just cute. It was just fun. I'm sure a lot of you agree. All right, let's go to number 3. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 for me is Roller Coaster Hand. Speaking of the Puke Up, I love the fact that in the Razor Crest, this life or death situation, the child is actually going, like, repeatedly holding his hands up like he's on the front of a roller coaster at Six Flags or Space Mountain. And I didn't catch that the first time, but I did the second time, and I was really entranced by it. Number 2 for Ian is Navarro. It was great to see how the leadership of Grief and Cara had transformed it for the better, and I love the IG-11 statue. Oh, this might help. That helps a little bit. I can't believe I forgot to turn on my lightsaber light. All right. Let's see what else we got. Jim, Navarro's changed. There are a lot of beaten up and desolate worlds in Star Wars, so it was refreshing to see a world that was actually starting to prosper again. I agree. Let's see. Oh gosh, we got a lot of stuff here. I didn't throw in Blake's number 3. Cara Dune's convo with Blue at the end of the episode. The reveal that stormtroopers are showing up in numbers. Wait, no, we talked about that. Sorry. Let's see. Number 2 for Tyler, Cara Dune. She's such an awesome kick butt character. That first scene of her taking out all of those guys was great. She's become one of my favorite characters in the franchise. Wow, Tyler, I'm glad. Yeah, she's awesome. She's really fun in these episodes, and it's cool that she's so tough, but she's also very charming. I feel like Gina Carano's doing a good job with that character. We talked about Jim's mention of Navarro's change, which I mentioned earlier. I think that's great. Mean to the return of Mythrol, who's a great comic relief in the show, and I hope we see more of him. I do too. I hope we see all these characters from Navarro because I think they're cool. Maybe we'll see him return later. Number 2 for Mary, Cara Dune's interaction with the New Republic officer was very moving. It was good to see a little bit of a dramatic take instead of just the punching. Blake's number 2, seeing the Biker Scouts in action. The show continues to take things from the original trilogy we love and make it modern. Indeed. And that's, I think, something that they continue to do, keep it refreshing and exciting. And I really think it's paying off really well. Really well. All right. Number 2 for Ross, all things from the child, from the red and blue wire mishap to the force-stealing snacks at school to cheering a bumpy ride until he spits up on himself. I think Carl Weathers really wanted to have fun with his little green buddy. Hey, we're a big fan of little buddies around here. Number 2 for Carter, the possible Dark Troopers. I'm actually playing the Force Unleashed and I'm playing against swarms of Dark Troopers. I think this will be awesome to see in live action. Very menacing. Yes, and you and I talked about that a little bit in class today. There's a lot going on. Star Wars Twitter going nuts over Gene's guy. Fergus says, Greg, that's I've seen this episode 4 times and I don't see it. LOL, Tempest in a teapot for sure. Oh, I like that expression. Very good. Very good. Yeah, and we posted in the CWK Cafe. Clayton actually texted me the action figure of that, which is funny. So Mason's number 2. He's put Stormtrooper fall, lava. What he means is how far that Stormtrooper falls and screams. I believe it's a Wilhelm scream right into the lava. Not good to be a Stormtrooper if you're in the world of the Mandalorian, for sure. All right, time for number 1. Number 1 of our top 5 moments from the siege for me, it's Grief Karga and the child. The sequence when they land on Navarro and Carl Weathers, as Grief Karga, says, let me see this little guy, and grabs the child, holds him, and says, is he taking good care of you? Are you taking good care of him? It was so charming. And just in that little sequence, I thought, Carl Weathers is completely in his element. I love him in the first season, but it didn't really feel like he kind of knew his footing, I think, as an actor. He felt off. I mean, he's great. He's a legend. He's a cinematic legend and an icon. But I always felt like there was something weird. Maybe just Grief Karga wasn't comfortable in his own skin in the first season. I don't know. But in this episode, he's brilliant. His direction is flawless. It's so cool to see when there are actors that are really, really good at directing too. So I was thrilled with Grief Karga and the Child's Reunion. Really, I could have put the entire 5 of mine could have been Grief Karga, Grief Karga, Grief Karga, Grief Karga, Grief Karga. That's how much I enjoyed Carl Weathers in this episode, and the directing was phenomenal as well. All right, let's see what the rest of you have for your number 1s. Got a lot of good ones here. Brian's number 1, the Death Star trench run throwback in the canyon. Ooh, nice. I like the comparison there. Number 1 for Tyler, the Razor Crest return. It got a pretty audible reaction out of me. It reminded me a lot of Poe piloting his X-Wing at the start of Last Jedi. I agree with that. That's a good comparison. I like that very much. Ian's number 1, all the action culminating in a visually spectacular battle between the Razor Crest and a group of TIEs. Baby Yoda's delighted squeeze and little hands there made even better. The kid loves an adventure. He does. He does. Good or bad or indifferent, he definitely does. Jim says the Moff getting revealed at the end of the episode is really chilling and definitely has me anticipating the new episode for this Friday. Yes. Minta says the scene where we see the clone tanks, this might be a stretch, but this could be the beginning of Palpatine's many cloning processes. A new batch of Force users like the Dark Troopers from one of the older Star Wars games, the beginning of Snoke's origin. Yep, I think that's all on the table, Minta, and I agree, and I think that's very exciting. There's been a lot of speculation and wonder about what might happen here, but it's all there. It's all there. Number 1 for Mary, Razor Crest to the rescue, the wild ride, and the poor baby spitting up. Number 1 for Ross, the shock of the group discovering the Imperial base is a lab as Din Djarin realizes Moff Gideon is alive, that Dr. Pershing said they needed to reacquire the child. True fear is rare for a Mandalorian, but we saw it. I agree in that we all felt that shock, and luckily he jetpacks off, he's being blasted, and I thought, oh no, it's just going to be the time the Stormtroopers are suddenly good aims and blast him down. Unfortunately, that was not the case because we legitimately felt peril. It's also interesting, we got a good 5 to 7 minutes of action, and the Mandalorian was nowhere to be found, which made that return at the end really cool. The one for Carter, the dogfight, phenomenal. Would love to see some more. Mason wants me to share with you that we have Star Wars Squadrons. We do have Star Wars Squadrons. Thanks to a tip in the CWK Cafe, we got it for a really great price. And Mason's been tearing it up across the galaxy. So more about that later, I'm sure. Thank you, Mace, for reminding me. Minta's honorable mentions, grief in the child moment, and blue puke. Puke is a funny word, I guess. Blake says the Razor Crest swooping in at the end like Han Solo swooped in to help save the day in the Battle of Yavin. The dogfight with the TIE fighters was cinematic level awesome. It was. And it's back to that classic hero's journey of, outside helper rescue. This time it's the hero that's doing the outside helper rescuing, which I thought was a fun role reversal. Number 1 for Greg Moff Gideon. Giancarlo Esposito is just amazing in every scene he is in. He's become such a great villain in a short time. He's been so well used in both seasons. Yeah, he's used rarely, but he packs a punch. The ending, and this is my honorable mention, I don't have it, but when we get to see that new version of the Star Destroyer swooping in very, very slowly, a la the beginning of A New Hope, I thought that was tremendous. Tremendous. All right, Mason's number 1 is the wires, the red and blue wire together, and then that little, they're oppositely charged, and he goes, yeah, and he's got that sweet little cough that he does when he does it, and Din Djarin's like, oh, well. Hey, no one brought up the fact that Din Djarin lifted up his helmet a couple times to drink, which he's never taken off his helmet in front of a living being, as we know. So again, I think there's something really important there. We're going to talk about that a lot more in tomorrow's Coffee with Kenobi podcast. Carter wants to know, do we get any alien references? Well, probably. That's a good question. Anybody catch any alien references? Be sure to let us know in the comments. All right, I mentioned Coffee with Kenobi this week. There were 2 shows last week. Of course, we reviewed the Eras, but we also had Steve Sansweet, and talking about the Rancho Obi-Wan virtual gala. Hopefully everybody was able to attend the gala or check out a little bit of it. I ended up getting a sweatshirt from there. I really like that logo. I think it's sharp, and of course Steve is the greatest. It was so fun to have him on Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook Live last week, and I think everybody had a great time with that. And hey, if you like that, there might be some other people we can have on Facebook Live to answer your questions as well. Greg says, anyone else think of Spaceball 1 when I heard the Imperial Cruiser? That was the first thing that came to my head. You know what, Greg? It's the first thing that came to mind, too, because it looked more like that than it did anything from A New Hope. All right, that's funny. Speaking of funny, I should have made a trailer. But this week we did a top 5 Thanksgiving dishes and a birthday surprise on our pour-over. And my goodness, if you heard pour-over this week, it was the hardest the 3 of us have ever laughed for the longest amount of time. Because we got, once you get Tom to laugh, it's great. But we were joking about favorite Thanksgiving dishes, and Tom had a rather shocking one that brought out the juvenile side in us, and we laughed so hard. 3 shows of you count the pour over, join the Patreon page, everyone. Thank you, LJ. And LJ is one of the people that texted me talking about how funny it was. We had so much fun. My wife and I watched that a couple days later, and we laughed so hard we were crying. And Mason, the same thing. So fun. Ian says, Carol's little critter friend reminded me of Jonesy. Oh, that's good. I can see that. Yeah, that was an interesting sort of a weasel thing. I didn't really know what to expect there, but that was definitely entertaining. Let's go to next week's top 5. Next week's top 5, of course, is your top 5 moments from the Mandalorian Chapter 13. And as far as I know, there's not going to be a delay in a weekly Mandalorian. Last year they had a delay because of The Rise of Skywalker, but sadly there is no live action Star Wars movie this winter, which is weird. First one since 2015. So, okay, that just means we get to the Mandalorian even quicker. Jim has an answer for you, Carter. He says, regarding the aliens references, the Imperial base had a similar look to the base on Yaddhu in Rogue One, which I believe was heavily inspired by LV-426 in the original Alien. Well, thank you, Jim. That's very, very good. That's very, very good. All right. Let's do it, everybody. It's time for some Star Wars trivia. My son has been asking for this for a long time. There you go, Joe. Yeah, we break for nobody. That's that's from Spaceballs. All right. Let's see. Is there glare? No, it's still a glare. I got to do something about that glare. All right. So we're going to do some Star Wars trivia like we usually do. And we got a little bit of time. You can't Google anything. Don't grab any books. Don't grab the Star Wars book, even though that would be tempting. And it is a good read. I'm, of course, biased, but I just want you to go with your gut. Let the Force guide you to the answer. All right, are we ready for number 1? Who wants to play? Raise your hand. Yeah, Mason is fired up. I'm fired up too. All right, number 1. What part of a spaceship do Minox like to munch? What part of a spaceship do Minox like to munch? I have a feeling that everybody's going to guess this one because it's The Empire Strikes Back. We'll see. What part of a spaceship do Minox like to munch on? Mary raised her hand. She's playing. Let's see. Power cables, says Greg. Electric wire, says Ian. Mary says wires. Jim says power cables. Anybody else want to weigh in? We've got power cables. We've got electric wires. Ross says the wires. Mason says the cockpit. Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Minta says the wires as well. The answer is power cables. Power cables is the answer. All right. By the way, when I'm doing the show tonight, it's hard for me to tell, but is the glare really distracting, or does it just look like kind of part of the ambiance? Just let me know so we can improve the show. I want the quality to be really good for you. Jill says power couplers. No, I could see where you'd say that. They do reference that earlier in the show. All right. Let's see. Which pilot has the call sign Red 3 during the Battle of Yavin? Which pilot has the call sign Red 3 during the Battle of Yavin? So in A New Hope, one of the pilots has the call sign Red 3. Who has the call sign Red 3 during the Battle of Yavin? Don't Google it. Don't look it up. Just type in your answer. Ian says he thinks it's Biggs. What about all of you? What do you think? Ian's just guessing. Tyler says Porkins. Joe says Porkins. That's 2 for Porkins, 1 for Biggs. Who has the call sign Red 3 during the Battle of Yavin? Pablo, if you're watching, no fair for you to answer. Mason says Biggs. Oh, wow. Mary says Wedge. Greg says Biggs. Minta says Biggs. Mary says Wedge. Ross says Biggs. So we're pretty split. We've got a couple of Porkins. We got a couple of Biggs. We got a couple of Wedge. The answer, Biggs Darklighter. Ding, ding, ding. If you got Biggs, you got that one correct. Nice job. All right. Let's see. That was too easy. There might be a few softballs here and there, but I can't ask where does Obi-Wan Kenobi say is a wretched hive of scum and villainy? Let's all say it at once. 1, 2, 3. I know you know what that one is, so that one doesn't count. Okay. What political office does Palpatine hold at the beginning of The Phantom Menace? Be specific. What political office does Palpatine hold at the beginning of The Phantom Menace? Any ideas? What political office does Palpatine hold at the beginning of The Phantom Menace? Craig says Senator from Naboo. That is very specific, so thank you. I did ask for specifics. Anybody else? Senator Ian and Jim also say Senator. Mary says Senator. Ross says Senator. Tyler says Senator. This one probably isn't too hard. I didn't think it would be. Mason, I'll give you a chance to type it in, buddy. Minta says Senator of Naboo. Anybody else? Anybody else? What is the political office that Palpatine holds? Mason also says Senator. The answer is Senator. That was easy. Everybody got that one right. Everybody got that one right. All right. What type of droid typically travels to its destination in a one-way hyperspace pod? This could be anything in Star Wars. From any part of Star Wars. Movies, comics, anything. What type of droid typically travels into its destination in a one-way hyperspace pod? I feel like we got a good one, challenging one here. What type of droid typically travels to its destination in a one-way hyperspace pod? It's the Mickey Mouse. It's the Walt Disney World Christmas bug. Let's see. Ross says it's a probe droid, so does Ian. Joe says it's a Viper. Tyler says it's a probe droid. Anybody else have any guesses? Anybody else have any guesses? Mason says a probe droid. Tyler says one. Minta says one. Apparently this was an easy one too. It is a probe droid. Yep, probe droid it is. One way. Kamikaze, kinda. Kinda, especially if Han Solo's there. All right. What term does Qui-Gon Jinn define as life forms living together for mutual advantage? Which term does Qui-Gon Jinn define as life forms living together for mutual advantage? I'm not sure if I like how that's worded, but that's how it is worded. Which term does Qui-Gon Jinn define as life forms living together for a mutual advantage? Any ideas? Ian says midichlorians. LJ says symbiotic. Greg says midichlorians. Which term does Qui-Gon Jinn define as life forms living together for mutual advantage? Card says midichlorians. Joe says symbiotes. Ross says symbiotes. Tyler says a circle of life. That's the answer. Just kidding. But that's a clever answer. Jim says midichlorians. Again, which term does Qui-Gon Jinn define as life forms living together for mutual advantage? Mason says midichlorians. Mason, you spelled that correctly, dude. Well, very impressive. Most impressive. Minta says midichlorians. The answer to which term does Qui-Gon Jinn define as life forms living together for mutual advantage? The answer is symbionts. 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 So that's the answer. I don't know if I would have got. I probably would have said midichlorians too, to be honest. All right. Want some more? Let's do some more. We got some time. I feel like I've asked you these before. Which All right. Oh, that's too easy. No, we'll try. Which threesome manages to avoid? No, I can't. Those are too easy. Sometimes I should probably just look at these in advance, but you guys are all so smart, and I want to make it challenging for you. All right. Who is the first Ewok nearly blasted by a laser bolt? Who is the first Ewok nearly blasted by a laser bolt? Yub, indeed. Who is the first Ewok nearly blasted by a laser bolt? Greg says Wicket is the first Ewok nearly blasted by a laser bolt. Jim also says Wicket. LJ says Wicket. Minta says Wicket as well. Ross says Tebow. I'm assuming you mean Tito. Maybe you mean Tebow. Steve. Blake says Wicket. No, that's easy too. I'm just looking ahead. All right, the answer is Wicket. The answer is Wicket. He is the one. Okay. Interesting. All right, here's one. No, I know I've asked you guys that one before. I got to go deep into the well here. Deep into the well. Joe, you're right. It is Wicket. No, that's not it. It is Wicket, Tyler. That's a good guess. All right. This is a tough one. I don't know that I would know the answer to this one. How many claws does an Acklay use to walk? How many claws does an Acklay use to walk? Well, that is a tough one. Ooh, I love questions like that. How many claws does an Acklay use to walk? Any guesses? It's not like we have much of a reference. Ian says 3. Jim says 6. How many claws does an Acklay use to walk? Tyler says 6. Greg says 3. Think about how many legs they have. And LJ says all of them. Slick. Ross says 4. Mason says 4. How many claws does an Acklay use to walk? Minta says 6. I'll give you a little bit more time. I think everybody's weighed in. Let's see. So the answer to how many claws does an Acklay use to walk? It's 6. It is 6. That's how many claws an Acklay uses to walk. Interesting. Terry says 7 on each foot. Not quite, but I do like the guess. Okay. Let's see. What does Qui-Gon Jinn tell the Jedi Council he has encountered in the Force? This one's pretty fresh in my mind because of the Star Wars book. That was a shameless plug. I apologize. What does Qui-Gon Jinn tell the Jedi Council he has encountered in the Force? What do you think, friends? What does Qui-Gon Jinn tell the Jedi Council he has encountered in the Force? Any ideas? Excuse me. Greg says a divergence. Ian says a variance. Schism. So what does Qui-Gon Jinn tell the Jedi Council he has encountered in the Force? Ross will share Greg's answer. Divergence. Divergence. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? Jim, if you're still out there, I'll wait for you to answer too. So, what does Qui-Gon Jinn tell the Jedi Council he has encountered in the Force? A variance? Divergence? All right. Show copy divergence. So we have a first. We have. Oh no, we don't have a first. Terry got it. It is actually a vergence, not a divergence, but a vergence. Terry, if you had not weighed in, I was about to announce that no one had got that one right, but you nailed it, buddy. So you won that one. It's a vergence in the Force. A vergence in the Force. Wow. Exciting. Terry coming in at the last minute there. Okay. What does the crew of Princess Leia's ship, Consular Ship, shut down after suffering a crippling laser hit? I'll repeat that one a couple times. What does the crew of Princess Leia's Consular Ship shut down after suffering a crippling laser hit? What does the crew of Princess Leia's Consular Ship shut down after suffering a crippling laser hit? Greg says the main reactor. Carter says the shield. Joe says the reactor. Don't worry, Carter, I got you, buddy. Main reactor says Jim. Carter now says shields, not shield. Okay, noted. Noted. Anybody else? Mary says the reactor. The answer is, anybody else want to weigh in? I'll give you a few seconds here. Just probably do one or two more after this. Minta says shields. Mason, you want to weigh in on this one? Mason also says shields. The answer is the main reactor. And C3PO says they've shut down the main reactor. Will be destroyed for sure. This is madness. So that's kind of replay that one in your brain. All right, well, we're gonna go with two more. Okay. To which planet are Jedi told to report in a coded message luring them to certain death? To which planet are Jedi told to report in a coded message luring them to certain death? Dun dun dun. To which planet are Jedi told to report in a coded message luring them to certain death? Carter says Alderaan. Joe says Coruscant. Mary says Coruscant. Greg says Coruscant. Jim says Coruscant. Terry says Coruscant. Ross says Coruscant. Where are the Jedi supposed to rendezvous? LJ and Mason also say Coruscant as well. Okay. That's the answer. It's Coruscant. It's no worries, Carter. I might have read it weird too, so that's totally okay. All right. Gosh. Interesting. This is a great last question for this week. Who did George Lucas describe as a cynical, world-weary pessimist? Who does George Lucas describe as a cynical, world-weary pessimist? Who does George Lucas describe as a cynical, world-weary pessimist? That's a good question. Greg says Han Solo. Okay. Who else wants to answer this one? Who does George Lucas describe as a cynical, world-weary pessimist? Tyler says Han as well. Anybody else? LJ says Han Solo or Dan's there. Yeah. Mina says Han Solo. Jim says Han Solo. Mason says Han Solo. Who else? Mary says Han. Looks like everybody's gonna get this one correct as well. I gotta. Maybe this can't be the last one. I gotta stump everybody. That's good. It is Han Solo, of course. Which? Okay. We'll try this one. Which 4 words of warning for future trench runs does Gold 5 communicate? I'm going to start over. Blah, 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 rewind. Which 4 words of warning for future trench runs does Gold 5 communicate before he crashes into the Death Star? Which 4 words of warning for future trench runs does Gold 5 communicate before he crashes into the Death Star? That's a good one. Again, which 4 words of warning for future trench runs does Gold 5 communicate before he crashes into the Death Star? Dave says they came from behind. LJ says it came from behind. Mary says watch your back. Anybody know? Lieutenant Dan. Not exactly. They came from behind. They came from behind. So we've got a couple for that. LJ says it came from behind. Greg and Mason both say they came from behind. The answer is, and Jim says it here too, they came from behind. Well, that's going to do it this week for Star Wars Trivia as well as for Facebook Live. My goodness, it's a holiday week, isn't it, everybody? We've got a lot of fun going on. If you're going to do some holiday shopping, be sure to pick up the Star Wars book. Of course, it's on sale on Amazon or wherever books are sold. It's doing incredibly well. Thanks to the word of mouth and your great feedback. Can't thank you enough for all of that. Be sure to join us next week, because next week we're going to have some fun talking about the next chapter of The Mandalorian, of course. We'll catch up on how you did on Thanksgiving, all the good stuff. Blake, good to see you, man. Have a great Thanksgiving. Greg, you as well. Mary, Joe, thank you so much. I hope everyone does have a wonderful, happy, safe, healthy Thanksgiving. You can shop online. You can have your turkey. You don't have to worry about the Bears losing because they don't play on Thanksgiving, so that's always fun. May the Force be with you too, Minta. Ross, have fun. Good luck with school. Hey, man. Tyler, thanks for fun. Thanks for showing up and always sharing your positivity with us. We appreciate it, Terry. Thankful to have you. Yes, I'm thankful. Jim, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for Terry, Tyler, Minta, Ross, Ian, Joe, Mary, Greg, LJ, Blake, Jim. If I forgot your name, I apologize. Dave, you as well. Of course, Mason, Tyler. Thankful for all of you and the great community we have here at Coffee with Kenobi. We will see you next Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget that tomorrow we're going to have a brand new Coffee with Kenobi, the only one this week, but it will be a really, really fun one. It's going to be us talking about the Mandalorian episode we just talked about tonight with Corey Clubb and Adam Goswick. Mason Ross says, see ya. I love it. I love all the how awesome you all are with Mason and my family. It's great. You guys are definitely a Star Wars family. We'll see you in the CWK Cafe as well as online. Again, have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving. And remember, this is the podcast and Facebook Live channel you're looking for. See you, everybody. Hey, see you later, Carter. Thanks for joining us tonight, man.